And I and mute myself here.
Let me hit record as well.
There we go. Okay.
Good
Yeah. So
morning.
so the I like to think of for my life now. There are, I think we all have communities that we become a part of, and it's there's something special about these communities, and you know that you're going to have a relationship with the people in these communities for a long time. So for me, I think of maybe three communities. There's when I went to college as an undergraduate, my fraternity and the community around there. There is Toastmasters, and then there's Ultimate Coach Facebook group. So it's just a blessing to have communities where you know that you're going to have a relationship that's going to last for, like in the Ultimate Coach Facebook group, we talk about a 20-year commitment to the group. And that's a lot. Many of the members of the Toastmasters Club I belong to have been around for 20 years or
Mhm.
longer.
Mhm.
I think because of that sense of community.
Yeah. I think it's just like a natural feeling, a natural desire. I think we were created for community.
Yeah.
Like my faith say that God created us because he wanted, a family to be around him. And I believe that we can't make it alone. So I always encourage women to find their tribe, their community,
Yes. Yeah.
and be with it, because life is so much more with like-minded people, people who love you, people, who can support you, and then you can support, and then, yeah, you serve together, you love together, you grow together. So
Hmm.
community
Yeah.
is very important to me as
Yeah.
well.
And connection is really
It's all about the
important.
connection. I mean, if I don't connect, I die.
Yeah.
I am
Right.
not. I think whether you're an introvert or extrovert, because some people might say that they're introvert and that they prefer to be alone. But like if you look at children, um, when they're born, like they need their mom, they need the connection, they
Yep.
need the warmth, right? And they have
Yes.
been studies after studies of people of children in an orphanage who died. I think it was in Poland, because there were no contact, and they were fed and
Mhm.
everything, but nobody was talking to them, touching
Right.
them, and they died. So I see that as our nature state of being
Yes.
deeper, needing human warmth, human connection. That's how we
Mhm.
thrive, I think, and live. And it's sad when we don't have that. Maybe
Yeah.
that's why COVID was so hard on people.
Yeah, well, it was hard on me, I think, just because I didn't embrace this idea that I was referring to in my speech of we can there because of technology now we have much more opportunities for connection. Like, well, you and I, for example, right? We haven't yet met in person, but we have a
No.
very deep connection, right?
Yes.
And that's one of the things that technology allows us to do. And a lot of people in the Toastmasters group sort of lament well, it's not quite the same, and it's different, but
Mhm.
it's just different, right?
It's
It's not inferior or superior. It's a
yeah.
different way of communicating. It's a different way of connecting.
I would say I am one of those who have always preferred the in-person,
Yeah,
because I am touchy-feely. I like to
yeah,
feel, to touch, to
yeah,
be with some people in the same
yeah.
room. But I have to say that I see the benefits of Zoom.
Right.
Like my family is all over the world. I have family in the US, in Europe, and in Africa. I have
Hmm.
friends on, the five continents.
Yeah.
And I think it's such a blessing to be able to be connected to them. When I travel, I can FaceTime with my daughter and my
Right.
sons. I can
Right.
wish good night and all of that. So I am not one of those. I mean, probably everyone sees the benefits of it, but I think it doesn't, for me, nothing
It's
uh,
well, yeah. It's
beats the like the real connection. When you can touch someone, right?
yeah.
When you can, yeah.
And there's something about we might say I've heard the term sharing heartbeats,
Yes.
and which we're not really doing over Zoom because, first of all, we're not in the same physical space, but also because there is, even though it's imperceptible almost, there is a time delay, right? There's a
Yeah.
time delay between us in terms of communication. There's a split second where between when I'm speaking and when you're hearing it, which is not
Yes.
present in.
You know, it makes me think I come from a family of 8, and there is 12 years between the oldest and the youngest of our family. So I am number 7. Like I'm a twin. I have a twin brother. He's 6 and I'm 7. We're 15 minutes apart. Some people said 15 minutes was a lot. I'm like, yes, somehow. He was born at midnight, like 0h35, like midnight past 35 minutes, and then me midnight past 50 minutes. That's what's on our birth certificate anyway. So we like the 8 children. It was like 2 groups. It was like the oldest and the youngest. So the youngest, we were like 4, and we were no 5 of us. We were very much connected. So the when I was my sister, who lives in New Jersey, we're 7 years apart. We're very connected. She used to be like my mom, and I remember she went for college in France, and after her, my second sister, and before them, my oldest brother, because college, like we were all living in Senegal, in Dakar, and then we will graduate and then go to college abroad in France. And so I remember the 9 months of school, I would miss her so much, and couldn't see her. She would write letters and then she would call sometime. I remember it couldn't be very long because it was very expensive. And she would call in PCV, meaning that my dad was paying, from France.
Right.
And so, yes, I remember missing her so much and waiting for the moment like school would be off and then she would come back. And today, I haven't seen some of my brothers for maybe 3, 4, 5 years, but I don't feel like it because we communicate, we Zoom, we FaceTime, we WhatsApp, we do all of that. So technology, maybe I guess this is our segue to technology, like Zoom and what it has enabled us, to be truly connected, to be a connected world, whether we are on a continent or not.
Yes.
Like we together in the group, we are part of the Ultimate Coach Facebook group. We do some meetings sometimes, and it's the next day for our friends in Australia or in Asia, and isn't that great?
It is fantastic. But I mentioned one of those calls that we actually did that I met one of the members of the group in person. Actually, 2 of the members.
Oh, wow, you did?
Dave and his wife Penny. He invited us up to, and it was just a short drive for me, and it was a really powerful connection, because
you already knew one another. You
already
felt like you knew him already, right?
Yeah. We'd already had several conversations, and of course, we see each other's posts on Facebook all the time, and so there's that connection. I'm going to go back for that. I didn't know you had a twin. I don't know if you told me that.
No, maybe not. There are a lot of things you don't know about me. But you're discovering me, right? You are. That's why it's fun to be doing these things together. But I do have a twin brother. Yeah.
And were you like this growing up?
We were very connected, and I used to be a tomboy. Maybe difficult to believe in today because I'm pretty much girly. But yes, my mom would say that I would just wear shorts to be with him. I'd be climbing trees and running, and I still have a lot of how do you say cicatrices? Scars on my legs. I used to be like very conscious about them. Oh, I do have a lot of scars just because I was a tomboy. I was running around and be with him all the time. And then we had like quite some separations. The first one was when I was in 6th grade. I repeated my 6th grade for some reason that I would maybe share one day. And he went to 7th grade, and I was left behind. So that was a major rupture in our like bonding. Just more because of I felt like he was going and leaving me behind. And then the second one was after, and then we graduated high school at the same time because many years later he repeated maybe ninth or 10th
Oh,
grade.
so you
Like
caught
that.
you caught up to each other.
So we ended up graduating high school together, but then I left for France for college and he didn't want to, so he stayed in Dakar. He just wanted to stay there, and actually he never lived abroad. He remained in Senegal for many years, and then he started traveling a lot for his jobs. But anyway, so yeah, we're connected. I haven't seen him for a while. He has 3 daughters that are, one of her daughters actually is named after me. Her name is Sabelle, and I love that. So
I love that.
we're very connected, and yeah, so it's special. I love my family. I'm glad to be one of 8.
Eight, and were you guys the twins in the order?
We were 6 and 7.
6 and 7. Okay.
Yeah, maybe I would say maybe that's why community is so important to me, because I was like, first, I was part of a big family. Second, I grew up in West Africa, where the communal living is big. I remember like we would be outside and anybody could discipline us or educate us in the positive way. It wasn't just like, oh, these are they're not our children. There was really a communal sense of these children are our children.
So it's
Like
like
the
the Hillary
neighborhood.
Clinton. It takes a village, right? It takes a village. Yeah.
Yes, it takes a village. Like I live in a beautiful neighborhood. I do like the neighborhood, but Noah, my son, was playing with Bella Joy outside, and then they came together. Bella Joy was crying, and Noah said she fell out of the bike, and Noah was like, "Mom, there are some people that were looking at us. Nobody came and helped, and so I had to carry Bella Joy." And so I was a little sad because this wouldn't happen where I grew up. This wouldn't happen. And I know that today people are very, not that they don't care, I'm sure they care and they love, but they don't know if it will be welcome. So there is not this sense of, oh, I can help, because people have been said, that's none of your business, that's not your child. So people are afraid to stand for one another, and I think that's sad. But like for me, I'm all about community, helping one another and loving on one another, because that's how life is better. That's how we grow. Don't you think so?
Yeah, I think so. It's I think one of the disadvantages of technology in mass media, and this is maybe even true back when I was growing up as well, is you get into a community yourself, and there tends to be sort of a distrust of people who are not in your community.
Yeah,
Like,
we have grown to be more like, the world is not a safe place anymore,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
And that's
we've grown to believe that by what we've been fed
but
by the
by what
media.
we've been fed, and even if you take it longer, and I won't speak a lot on it because I could speak for 50 minutes on it. It's and that's Dan Siegel. I love Dan Siegel. He's also someone that I've studied intensely, and he called himself an attachment researcher. He's written a lot of book about parenting, about growth, and on the number 4 podcast we did, I think I cited one of his book, Parenting from the Inside Out. And so he has this field he calls interpersonal neurobiology. And that is just a mix of like 8 branches, like science, neuroscience, anthropology, psychology, sociology, and more. And he put them together and came up with interpersonal neurobiology, how we are connected to one another, and how the way we grow up, our attachment kind of determine how we relate to the world later and how we relate to other people. And what he was saying is that when children, all of us, and I do believe it, and I do preach this, and I do study it, and in the people that I coach, I can see it, and it does make sense, depending on how your attachment was secure or not. Like if your mom was available for you, not only like feeding you, but she was nurturing you, but she was also emotionally available and answered your needs. You felt secure, you felt seen, you felt. and all of that, you grow up seeing the world as a loving place, because your primary needs were met and all of your other needs were met. So you just grow up, you see some people that are just kind. They think that everything is going to be all right because they grew up in a loving environment. I would say Amy Hardison, that we know,
Yeah.
so you just have that kind of personality. But unfortunately, most of the people grow up without those primary needs met. And so we just grew up seeing the world as a hostile place.
Right.
We don't trust on others. We are afraid. And I think in our society today, even more, it's getting worse and worse. There is fear. We don't feel safe. We don't feel secure. And the consequence, the toxicity of our culture makes us very not safe and secure with one another.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's going to be a topic for another one, I think. We're past time again.
Oh, already. I guess we just start and it's over.
One of the things that I is my work for myself, and you were at the meeting this morning, is I consistently will go just a little longer than I need to go, and that's the work to tighten it up and say, well, if I say I have 5 to 7 minutes, I have 5 to 7 minutes, rather than 7 minutes. And I can't remember what I was at. 40. I was considerably over even the grace period for the time. So that's kind of interesting. But anyway, everybody, if you're watching this in replay or right now, thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll be here. We'll be here tomorrow. Let me see. Stop the live stream. I'm going to do it right now. Okay, everybody have a beautiful day. Boom, we're out.
Nice.
Nice. Recording.
Yes.
Stop.